Hi everyone, Greeno here and welcome to another video here on my Greeno Eats channel. Now today, as you can see, I'm sat in the dining room. I'm going to be featuring some products that I've been to pick up from Lidl. Now I have to thank regular viewer of the channel Marjorie Edwards for the tip on this. She advised me that it was Japanese week in Lidl. Now Lidl quite often have these feature weeks where they'll pick a cuisine from somewhere around the world. It may be somewhere just as close to home as kind of Netherlands or something like that, or France, Germany, Italian stuff. But sometimes they go a little bit further afield, and this week it's Japan. Now I thought that was quite interesting because obviously there's a lot of stuff in Japanese cuisine that is kind of unusual to the Western palate, some of the flavour combinations they go for. So I've been down, I've picked up a few items from the range of stuff they're doing this week. Let's take a look at what I got. So here's a little selection of stuff that I picked up from Lidl. Also says Japanese style on it rather than actually Japanese, but there we are. So first up, we've got a drink here, a cherry lemonade. That was £1.49. Here we've got some frozen yakitori chicken skewers. They're £1.99 for 10 little skewers. Some cheese flavoured with wasabi. That looks kind of interesting, doesn't it? Bright green cheese. £2.99 for a block of that. We have some Japanese style smoked pork sausages. So they are £1.49 for 6. This strikes me as a little bit weird. So it's a kind of a crisp, like a snack, sweet and sour pickled plum flavour. Strikes me as very strange indeed. They're £1.99 a bag. And then we've got a couple of sweet items here. So there's a yuzu flavoured dessert. It looks a little bit like a cheesecake, I think. So hopefully that will be quite tasty. That's £1.79 for 2 pots there. And at the back here, a black sesame ice cream. That's in a black sesame flavoured kind of dough, little mochis. And they're the most expensive of the lot, £3.25, just for 6 little balls, I think. So what I will do, I'll overlay everything price-wise as we go through the items. But I've got to cook these chicken skewers and then we'll try it with the savoury stuff. Right, so I've got those yakitori skewers cooking up in the air fryer at the moment. They're going to take 10-12 minutes, I reckon. While they're cooking, I thought we'd give these a try. So these are the sweet and sour pickled plum flavoured original premium Japanese potato chips. Now, sweet and sour pickled plum sounds a little bit odd to me. Maybe not just as a flavour, but certainly as a crisp flavour anyway. So these are apparently from a company called Koikea, who are a producer of premium Japanese potato chips since 1953. Even older than me, blimey. So let's get these open and have a look at what we're dealing with. So first up, the smell. It kind of smells like salt and vinegar. Not Walker's salt and vinegar, but maybe a sort of like a cheaper brand salt and vinegar. So it's just a normal potato crisp. I was wondering from the pictures on the outside where everything's sort of perfectly circular, whether they were going to be kind of like Pringly kind of things, something like that. Or, you know, just something that was pressed out of potato rather than actual normal potatoes. But as you can see, if I dive in and pick a couple out, you know, you can just see here, they're just normal crisps. So, let's give it a try. That's really nice. So, at first, it does taste kind of like a cheap salt and vinegar crisp. They're really crispy. Really nicely cooked. You can see the flavouring on the outside of it there. It's kind of almost pink. But once that kind of sharpness of the vinegar, you know how salt and vinegar crisps are when you first bite it, and get that kind of whack of sharp flavour. But what follows that There's a little bit of sweetness. And you know what? It's actually not unpleasant. I don't know if you remember when I did the Christmas pudding flavour crisps just before Christmas. And that was just kind of overwhelmingly sweet and quite unpleasant. This is not like that at all. That's a really nice crispy crisp. And the flavour's good. I would definitely buy that again if I see it. Right, let's give this cherry lemonade a try next, shall we? So here it is, Japanese style cherry lemonade. And if you take a look here, it's a really kind of vibrant deep pink colour, isn't it? So I'm guessing there's a fair amount of cherry juice in there. It says it's a juice drink made with lemon and cherry juices with added sugar and sweetener. So obviously mostly water. There's some lemon juice in there and cherry juice as well. So 12% lemon juice and 5% cherry juice, which is obviously giving it that flavour. Now Japan is famed, isn't it, for cherry blossom and that sort of thing. So I guess there's loads of cherry trees around. Let's see how their cherry lemonade tastes. It's got a really nice smell. It's a flat drink, obviously. It's not carbonated water. It's just normal water in there. It just tastes like flat lemonade. But you know, the like a cloudy lemonade, not your R whites or something. Or even though you've got the really vibrant pink colour, I'm not really picking up a whole lot of cherry flavour in there. There is something that's taken a little bit of the sharpness away from the lemon juice. So I'm guessing that's the cherry juice and a little bit of sugar. So it's giving it a more rounded flavour. I definitely wouldn't say you can tell it's cherry, but you know what? It's perfectly nice. Right, the yakitori skewers have cooked up in the air fryer now. So we're going to have this little savoury plate. So on here, as you can see, we have that green coloured wasabi flavoured cheese. According to the packet, it's just a semi-hard cheese with wasabi flavouring and spices. We have the smoked pork sausage. They're kind of like hot dog sausages, but I guess they'll have some kind of Japanese flavouring in. These are already cooked, so no need to reheat them, although I guess you can if you wanted to. And then the yakitori skewers here. They kind of glisten nicely, don't they? Got a nice glaze on them. As they cook them up in the air fryer for about 12 minutes. All looks pretty appealing, I think. So, where am I going to start? I think I'll start with this cheese. So, let's say it's a semi-hard cheese. It kind of bends a bit. It feels a bit like, kind of like an Edam kind of consistency. Doesn't really smell of anything in particular, so it's obviously quite a mild cheese in itself. Do you know what? That's actually quite nice. I mean, wasabi is kind of like a horseradish, isn't it? And it does have that kind of slight horseradishy, pepperiness. It's a little bit off-putting as a colour, perhaps. Although I do like Sage Derby cheese, which is a green cheese. It is soft. Like I said, it does have that kind of Edam consistency. But I do like that wasabi flavour with it. I don't think it's something that would work in a sandwich or something like that. But if you were just having like little picky bits or some cheese and crackers, that sort of thing, it would be nice. One thing that we're doing this week is we're having burgers one night at home. And I reckon if I was to slice this and melt that on top of a burger with that sort of peppery horseradish flavour, that'll be really tasty. I like that. I'm impressed. Okay. A little bit more of the pink lemonade. Just to wash that cheese down. And we're going to try this sausage now. So here we go. There's the sausage. It's just a long sort of hot dog sausage, quite thin. Let's see if we can break it in half so you can take a look inside. There we go. That's the inside of the sausage there, sort of just chopped up pork, obviously. It does have a very kind of smoky aroma. Yeah, quite a firm consistency. I don't know what particularly makes it Japanese. The pork, it's not really finely cut. So there's a bit more texture to it than a normal hot dog sausage. The skin on it has got a bit of bite to it. So I imagine if you cook that up, it would probably have quite a nice like snap to it. But I think even just as a cold sausage, I mean, you could chop this up and put it in a salad. There's not a lot of spice to it. There's nothing like, I don't know, any weird kind of Japanese flavour to it. They've not infused it with anything. It's not overly sweet. It's just nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Time to move on to these skewers. Again, we'll cleanse the palate a little bit first. Now, there were 10 of these in the packet. Just little chicken skewers there, you can see, just on wooden skewers. Now these, hopefully, were separated into 2 little bags of 5 each. So I was able just to cook 1 portion of them. Like I say then, I mean, there's not an awful lot of chicken on them, but they certainly have that nice sort of varnished glaze look to them, don't they? Let's give it a try. It's a little tough, but then it's going to be when you're cooking chicken just that thin. Very difficult to keep it kind of moist and succulent. The glaze on it is sticky. It's sweet, but with that sort of umami hit in there as well. Again, I think if you were to cook some of these up as a little finger food on a buffet or something, that would be quite nice. Again, I'm sure you could just strip the chicken from these little skewers and put it into a salad. Or just as a beer snack in front of the football, maybe. This one's a little softer. Perhaps it's just a bit more meat on that one than the previous one. But I do like that flavour. It's kind of sweet, but also savoury. I think with a lot of Japanese food, the sweetness can kind of be the predominant flavour. And that's a little off-putting to me, but in this case, it's just a component part of something bigger. You know what? All 3 of those items I'd thoroughly recommend. Like I say, don't know what makes that Japanese. And I imagine with this, if you showed this to a Japanese person, they'd think, what the hell are you eating there? But it does have that kind of wasabi flavour. Yeah, good job. Okay, so far everything's been pretty good, hasn't it? I've enjoyed it all. Time for a little bit of dessert now though. So what we have here is their Yuzu Dessert, which is like a yuzu and orange flavoured, looks like kind of like a jelly on the top, with a vanilla cream and a biscuit crumb at the bottom. So kind of like a cheesecake really, I suppose. And then we have these little mochi, which are black sesame flavoured ice cream inside a black sesame rice dough. Now, they've just come out of the freezer and they do need apparently a couple of minutes just to sit and rest. Probably just so that it defrosts a little bit so it's not quite so rock hard. So we're going to start with this yuzu dessert. Now it smells quite sweet and citrusy right from the start. Like I said, it's got that biscuit crumb at the bottom, vanilla cream, and then the yuzu and orange on the top. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult to dive straight in and get a bit of everything, but what I want to do is try and taste this yuzu and orange first. Now yuzu is a citrus fruit, isn't it? And it's kind of lemony, so this should have that sort of St. Clement's kind of flavour almost. It's certainly sharp. Wowzers. Almost kind of face puckeringly sharp. I don't know if you any of you watch the Detectorists, but it's kind of a bit like Sheila's Lemonade. I don't know how many of you will get that reference, but there we are. Let's try it with a bit of the cream. That should take the edge off of that sharpness a little bit. And there we go. You can see here we've got the jelly on the top and a bit of the vanilla cream. So yeah, that does really take the kind of overwhelming sharpness off of it. A bit of sweetness from that vanilla cream. Let's see if I can get down and get some of this biscuit crumb as well. And then we'll try it all together. So again, that biscuit is quite soggy. It's not crispy at all. But it's another sweet flavour. So again, it just balances out that real sharpness from that yuzu and an orange kind of jelly. That is quite a nice little pot of dessert. The only problem with it is the way they've designed it. So it's very tall, very thin. And it's kind of difficult right from the start to dig in and get a bit of everything. If it was in a lower, kind of flatter pot, a bit like a goo pudding, if you know what those are, then maybe it would work a little bit better right from the start and you wouldn't have to get that crazy original hit of the citrus. But yeah, overall, that is rather nice. Okay, a bit more of the pink lemonade. Still can't taste any cherry in there. Let's try one of these mochis then. So, even having just left it out of the freezer for a couple of minutes while I'm talking to you about the other dessert, it's already started to soften up that rice dough. It looks like it's covered in icing sugar. Let's bite into it and have a little look what's inside. It's cold. Now, that's particularly cold for me because I've been at the dentist this morning. I had my teeth cleaned and scaled and whatever. So they're probably a little bit more sensitive than they might normally be. Now, again, it's one of those things where the colour could be classed as a little bit off-putting. It's kind of like this murky grey colour, which isn't visually that appealing. I don't know if you're supposed to eat these with your hands. Probably not. The flavour's quite nice. I mean, I don't know what black sesame desserts are supposed to taste like. It doesn't have anything that is particularly familiar to me as a sesame flavour. I mean, normally with sesame things, you find them on burger buns and in little snack bars, that kind of thing. A little sprinkle over some Asian food. So it doesn't really taste like that kind of toasted sesame that I'm familiar with. But it's nice. It's very sticky, very gooey, this rice flour. I don't know if you can see here, look. It's all like falling off. So it's very kind of stretchy. Do it there on my thumb. I have to say, that's probably the least favourite of the items I've tried today. Texturally, that rice flour is just a bit weird. The flavour's okay. The ice cream is nice enough. But, yeah, I'd rather take the other dessert, that's for sure. Okay, folks, let me know in the comment section down below if you'd like to see more of these on the channel. Like I say, I think probably every couple of weeks or once a month, something like that. Lidl do one of these themed weeks around a particular country. If I spot they're on, would you like to see another video of that kind of stuff? If so, like I say, down in the comments, just let me know. So what do we think of that overall, folks? There's been some interesting stuff in there, I think. I think the drink, first off, was quite nice, but I struggle to see how it's much different to any other kind of flat, cloudy lemonade. There's a little bit more sweetness to it, perhaps, but you can't really pick up that it's cherry. The crisps, they surprised me. I was expecting them to be unpleasant, but they really weren't. They're actually quite nice, and I would buy them again. Sort of thing that would make an interesting kind of talking point, I reckon, if you've got a little buffet thing going on, little finger food, just to have, like, you know, pickled plum flavour crisps. Sounds a bit mad, doesn't it? But they taste good. On the savoury front, the cheese I really liked, and I'm definitely going to try it on a burger later in the week, see if we can melt it up and get some of that nice sort of peppery horseradish flavour across a burger. That should be good. The yakitori skewers, really enjoyed them. The flavour was great. Bit of a mixed bag in terms of how they were cooked. A little bit tough, one of them, but the other one was very, very kind of juicy and succulent. Just the way they were put on the skewers, I'm guessing. And of course we had the smoked pork sausage, which was perfectly pleasant. Could I tell you it was Japanese? Not really. I've had that kind of flavour in sort of, you know, Central European sausages before, that's for sure. Desserts, the yuzu dessert was a delight. Once you got down through that yuzu layer into the creamy vanilla and the sweet biscuit base, that flavour combination of everything together was really, really tasty. Nice and sweet, took the edge off of that sharpness from the citrus. The black sesame mochi, yeah, that's, like I said before, probably my least favourite item that I've tried today. Texturally unusual. That rice flour on the outside, kind of like sticky and squidgy, like eating raw dough. Bit weird. But the flavour was okay. The ice cream inside was nice enough. It's just not something I'd rush to have again. Right then, folks, if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget, click a thumbs up on there for me. It does help with the channel. And if you're new around here and you like what you've seen, why not consider clicking the subscribe button, ding your little bell for notifications, and that way you won't miss anything that comes up on the channel. Okay, I've got a couple more of these skewers to eat. A bit more cheese too, so lucky me. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.